Well, this is a pretty big yikes. Apparently, Pete Hegseth and others accidentally included maybe one of the worst humans ever, a reporter with terminal TDS, in on a Slack conversation where they are discussing highly confidential war plans. And rather than, you know, simply leaving that chat room, the reporter stayed in there and took screenshots and then published them all, putting perhaps America at risk and many more. Now, this is a complicated issue because, I do believe, I support Snowden in the leaks and stuff like that. But this was not that. This was a reporter who's probably going to be in big trouble. We talked a little bit about it on the live stream today, but this is a big yikes. Let's take a look. By the way, just so everyone knows, all this week, you could win $75 Amazon gift cards, PlayStation 5 Pro, Xbox, gaming PC for Meta PCs. By the way, Meta PCs, if you're in the market, promo code Rumble to save. All you have to do is be following me on Rumble. I know a lot of people, I'm not saying you have to quit YouTube. I'm saying just tune into Rumble. And the giveaway started at 300,000 followers. So we're only 3,000 away right now. So I'll leave a link in the description how to enter. And, I just want you to check out the live show. I'm not saying to quit look, give our live show a try. 2:00 Eastern. It's the new time. And I really think you're going to like it. Tomorrow is Melanie Mack and Hannah Claire Brimlow and Gothics, I believe, will all be on the show tomorrow. So it should be a pretty wild day. So go ahead. Good luck on the contest. We'll be picking winners every single day. Trump's top secret war plans revealed in stunning blunder as journalist is added to text chat with J.D. Vance. Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief at The Atlantic, made a jaw-dropping revelation on Monday that President Trump's national security team added him to a top-secret chat on the military strikes in Yemen. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz started the conversation on Signal, an encrypted messaging app that includes users identified as Vice President J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. A CIA representative, Trump advisor Stephen Miller, and the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles were also listed in the group. Goldberg, a longtime Washington, D.C. journalist loser, found himself added to the conversation. Quote, "It should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that I have never been invited to a White House Principals Committee meeting, and that in many years of reporting on national security matters, I had never heard of one being convened over a commercial messaging app," he wrote in The Atlantic. The shocking story shows operational details that were unwittingly revealed. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, former Fox News host, is now under a microscope over the egregious failing. Goldberg noted that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan at 11:44 a.m. The bombs started dropping at 2 p.m. Trump told reporters at the White House that he had not seen the Atlantic story. "I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business." When pressed about the Signal chat, Trump said it could have been very effective because the attack was very effective. "I can tell you that I don't know anything about it. You're telling me this for the first time." Goldberg outlined the bizarre tale where he first expressed disbelief about the text chain, questioning whether or not it was real, and then realized that it was genuine when the bombs started falling. Well, he could have left the group at any time. Now, again, just because this makes, my guy look bad, I cannot ignore that if this had happened under the Biden administration, I would be criticizing it too, and I have to be fair, okay? He just appeared as JG in the chat. It's unclear who Waltz meant to add, but Jameson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, has the same initial, sparking speculation it was meant to be him. Goldberg never disclosed all of the information on the chat, citing national security concerns, which I have to give, even though this guy has terminal Trump derangement syndrome, I have to give him some credit for that. He probably would have been in prison if he did, by the way. Look what they did to Snowden. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. National Security Council confirmed that the chat was in fact authentic. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce told reporters at our daily briefing, "We will not comment, and you should contact the White House." If true, it's an astonishing security breach. Trump ordered the strikes against the Iran-backed rebels. They're not rebels, they're Terries in Yemen. As a warning to Tehran, the Houthi Terries were targeting ships in the Red Sea from countries with ties to Israel, including the U.S. and the UK. Goldberg had his doubts of whether or not he found himself added, admitting he was worried that the text chain was a disinformation operation, but he published it anyway. But he also found as he watched the text flow that the statements in it sounded genuine and some of the details matched up. For example, the account labeled Vance texted he would miss a meeting because he would be in Michigan for an economic event, and indeed the vice president was in Michigan on the day of the question. Vance also expressed his doubts about the operation. "I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with the message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we will see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices," Vance wrote. So, I mean, I'm not... I definitely appreciate that the VP was speaking out against this, to be honest with you. "I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this month, doing the messaging work on why it matters, seeing where the economy is, etc." Pete Hegseth responded that he understood. "VP, I understand your concerns and fully support you raising this with POTUS. Important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out. The economy, Ukraine, peace, Gaza, etc. I think messaging is going to be tough no matter what." After some discussion, Vance concludes, "If you think we should go, let's do it. Let's go. I just hate bailing out Europe again." I mean, what I love about these is like they kind of make JD Vance look even better. Like as if they're supposed to make JD Vance look bad, I think it makes him look pretty based. He brings up some very good points. Where are some of these leaks? Okay. I just hate bailing out Europe again. Let's make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do upfront to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can even do this. Nobody else is even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good as time as any, given that POTUS's directive to reopen the shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. This was, as I heard it, the president was clear. Green light, but as soon as we make it to Egypt and Europe, blah, 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 blah. I would think, I'm not really that surprised that they use Signal, to be honest with you. I do think it's kind of based that they're like, I'd rather not keep bailing these people out. But I shout out to my European viewers. This is all government stuff, you know? The messages, you see, JD Vance was 100% correct in the leaked Signal group, by the way. He writes, in this article, 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez Canal. 40% of European trade does. The real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this, as POTUS said, is to send a message. So inside these Signal chats, he's basically 100% correct, saying like the Suez Canal and the Houthis is a Europe problem, not a United States problem. But again, the United States has to get involved for their own very reasons, you know? This is while Trump Vance NatSec team accidentally added editor-in-chief to a group Signal chat, Yemen airstrikes, sharing classified information. No one noticed until after the bombs dropped. I imagine that, here he is. Where is this guy? Here's Jonathan Lemire. The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. I don't know necessarily about that. You can see, why don't you just delete the messages or let them know that you were incorrectly added to the group? Sounds like you were more interested in publishing salacious story than doing the right thing. You got played in a disinformation op. The Pentagon always puts out mixed signals to keep adversaries guessing. I don't know if I would count this as a fourth dimensional chess move. I would count this as a genuine F up, in my opinion. This is a goof that fortunately didn't really have a huge backfire. In fact, I think JD Vance comes across looking pretty based. You know, this says this is insane. Trump admin accidentally added the editor. Their discussion of strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. You know, again, here's Trump.
Your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides
I assume
have been discussing very
Signal will be banned
through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
Having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective.
Yeah, so I mean, he's basically saying like, you know, this is kind of a nothing burger. Obviously, you need to tighten this up. It's bad. On the left, we'll get to run headlines about how Pete Hegseth is sloppy. And you know what? They're going to deserve it. You got to be careful. If you're going to use Signal, which I can't believe the U.S. government doesn't just have an encrypted app that they control. You can't be just adding reporters willy-nilly to top secret conversations. So this is going to be pretty interesting to me. But I also think it's funny that they're like, how about the pressure of resigning? I wouldn't say that. This is not that big a deal. It could have been a bigger deal, but right now, I think it ends up just making JD Vance look more based. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget I'll leave a link to the giveaway entry. You can enter once a day. I'm picking winners once a day. But the one requirement is that you're following us over on the Mean Green app and that you try to tune into the live show because we'll give out the new link each day to enter on the live show. You can watch it live or you can watch it later. So even if you can't make the 2 p.m. Eastern show, that's okay. Just watch a little bit later. Give it a try for the live show. That's all I'm asking. I know a lot of you are like, the app isn't perfect yet, which it isn't. It's got work to do. But I think that it's worth it. You know, like I think that you should give it a try for the live shows. Support free speech, support alt tech, new tech. We'll talk to you again real soon.